I'm Sharon Bill. I'm often asked why it is that I do what I do. Why do I spend so much time looking at music theory, producing music theory videos, just generally being interested in music theory? What is it that motivates me to just keep on wanting to study, wanting to promote study, and wanting to share the joy of learning music theory? And there are many answers to that question, of course. I think, continual professional development is a thing, of course. It's certainly true that in any field of study, you never just stand still. You either go backwards or forwards. We just either keep on learning and keep things fresh in our mind, or we just forget things. And I certainly don't want that to be the case. And of course, I love my subject, so why wouldn't I want to keep being interested in that? I think as well, I am very much motivated by this compelling conviction that I just don't know. I don't know that. Why don't I know that? Why is it I should know that? And this constant thirst to feel like I need to catch up on all of this knowledge that I've missed. And I'm so grateful to those who know far more than I do, who are willing to share their knowledge. And as such, it only seems right to pass that knowledge on and to just share the love of learning for anybody else who might wish to learn the subject as well. And so that sounds quite noble. However, I don't think that's the overwhelming motivation for me wanting to keep studying, wanting to keep learning more. And actually, I think it's just because I'm nosy. I am so nosy. And history, and music history particularly, just constantly brings me to think, well, why is that? Well, what did that look like? Why did they do that? And I'm just drawn down this sort of rabbit hole of history and searching into the composer's mind. And whether it's grade one theory, if we're looking at this vast score of orchestral music, we still need to know what a crotchet is. We still need to know what note this is in the treble clef. The flute is playing this note. It's just grade one. It is the start to it all. And so we sort of dip our toes into the water at grade one, and then the road opens out before us, and there's no end to what there is to learn, and there's so much to find out ahead of us. And I've mentioned before in a previous vlog of mine, I do remember vividly, I can tangibly feel how I felt when I was about 14 in one of my first O-level music lessons. And I felt like I was sitting on the edge, looking into this world that I just really wanted to be part of. Had I but thought about it, or had I the confidence to know? Of course, nobody in the class knew what was going to be taught to us. How can you know something until it is explained to you? You can't just know by osmosis. Of course, everybody was there to learn, but I just sort of felt like I presumed everybody else knew what was going on, and I was on this edge. And I can remember tangibly just sitting there thinking, I don't understand what she's saying. I don't understand this, but I want to. I don't understand, but I want to. And I still feel that now driving. I don't know. I don't understand, but I want to. And there's this hunger to sort of dive in and be part of this great pool of music. And if I can share that, why wouldn't I? Of course I want to. But it is because I'm nosy. I remember, if we're learning a piece of music, I remember we were talking, the music in question was this Bach Toccata and Fugue. And I can remember seeing a picture of the composer. I suppose the teacher was just trying to place it all into context, for which I am grateful. And you look at the composer and you think, well, why is he wearing a wig? I wonder what they wore. Why did they wear a wig? I wonder what you'd have for your tea. Was coffee around then? Did they have a cup of coffee? And then it's like, well, how on earth did he sit and compose this vast piece of music with with a quill, like a quill and ink. What happens when it went wrong? How did that work out? And actually, you look and you see scores now of original manuscripts. I've got a facsimile of the Haydn Piano Sonata in E flat on my music room wall. And you look at it to think, goodness gracious me, that is so messy. If ever you feel that your manuscript is not tidy enough, just look at the grades and you'll feel so much better, because my days it is so untidy. And I'm just really, really nosy. And I'm sure that the more you learn and the more you delve into a topic, the more you realise how much you don't know. And it just continues to raise questions. And the instruments of the time, they sounded different. Well, how was that? And I remember we were singing in a concert. It was Handel's Messiah, of one of many. It was a Baroque orchestra using the sort of period authentic Baroque instruments, or so we presume. I guess we weren't there. The thinking is that instruments were tuned a semitone lower. So what we hear as C now actually would be a semitone lower. And it was like, that is so fascinating. I didn't know that. And then, of course, when we get to those screeching top A's, it was such a relief, because we were reading on the music a top A. It's like, I think I'll have to just mime that note. And then actually it was quite manageable, because really we were singing a G sharp or an A flat. Actually, and I remember as well, in that very same concert, the conductor, Sir Donald Hunt, he was such a great conductor. Great conductor. And he was conducting it in the style of, when we see a dotted rhythm, like dotted quaver, semiquaver, in Baroque period, they would have really exaggerated that. So it would have felt double dotted. So it would have felt like a double dotted quaver and then a demi-semiquaver. And, just those more lively rhythms, which were considered normal at the time as we were led to understand it. And it was like, I didn't know that. I wonder why. And then my imagination goes off down this road and I'm just captivated. And it's just because I'm just so nosy. Now, as I'm working through the grade 6 music theory videos for my Patreon channel, I come to the recording table and I'm just in my happy place, because we'll be looking at a particular piece of music. Say, for example, for question 1, to look at, a simple exercise of allocating chords to a given melody. I said, well, what is the melody? Who is this composer? What is this German song that we're thinking to add harmony to? Well, when did he live? And then, I look up the name and it's like, oh, well, he was even before Bach's time. Goodness gracious, whoever composed music before Bach's time? Well, that's really interesting. What does this melody sound like? So I wonder who he was. Where did he live? And I just want to get to know the minutiae of everybody's life at that time. And when we start looking at music theory and when we're listening to a piece of music, it's so fascinating to think we're just stepping into like a time warp, where we step into another world and we join the life of this composer at that time. So we sort of spliced into history, really. We all have 24 hours in a day, don't we? And it's how are we going to spend those days? And it's pure nosiness that just drives me to want to get inside this music, these composers' lives, the instruments, and it's this endless quest for this knowledge that I feel like I should know this. I don't. Why don't I know this? And I'm absolutely overcome with curiosity. They say that curiosity killed the cat. In this case, I disagree. I think it's good to keep learning. There's always something new to learn. I'm so grateful to those who are willing to share their information and knowledge with me. And if I can just pass that on down the line and share the joy and share a little bit of knowledge, then it's all good, isn't it? And we're all happy. Yes, so I think I'll just continue being nosy. Thanks for listening. Bye.